the host of Hendersonville Green Drinks, and I'm here with Cassidy Dunaway, our AmeriCorps staffer at Mountain True, and Christine Wittmeier, who is our speaker tonight. And I'm gonna get to more of Christine in just a moment, but I wanted to turn it over to Cassidy first, who's gonna talk to us a little bit about this webinar platform that we're using.
Hey everybody, I'm Cassidy. It's nice to see you. Well, not actually see you, but know that you're there. You can see us and hear us, but we cannot see you or hear you. So you get to use this cool little feature called Q&A at the bottom to ask us any questions. And there is also a chat box available if you have just a comment or a question as things go along. If you have any issues, feel free to use the chat box to privately message all panelists, and we will be there to help you. So turn that back over to Katie.
Great. Okay, so the plan this evening is for me to talk a little bit about who we are and what's coming up. And then I'm going to introduce our speaker, who's going to talk to us about local recycling, what's on the local recycling scene. And then I really want you to encourage you to ask questions. And what we decided we would do tonight is to kind of wait till Christine's finished with her presentation, but write them down while you're thinking about them. And Cassidy's kind of going to be our referee when it's question and answer time. And Christine promised she'd keep it to half an hour, 40 minutes. So we'd have a good 20 minutes of questions, hopefully more than that. So get your questions ready. Hopefully you've come with them. Green Drinks is sponsored locally by Mountain True in Conserving Carolina. Please, in this season of giving, remember the environment and remember those on the front lines who are out there taking care of this special place we call home. So if you're not a member, do that. If you have a little extra to give, please do. Green Drinks is a chapter in an international movement. There are 500 chapters of Green Drinks worldwide. And we're in our 5th season, which is amazing that we've had such wonderful turnout and participation. And we have a wealth of environmental speakers to draw on. But we are going to take a little break. So in January, I don't have any announcements for speakers. We're going to take a little hiatus and take a little break from Green Drinks, and we're going to reconvene and probably get started up again in April. So stay tuned and we'll keep you posted in the spring of 2021. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker. Christine Wittmeier grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and is a graduate of Auburn University. I first met Christine when she was an environmental educator with Asheville GreenWorks. You may have seen her at one of our Rhythm and Brews events downtown with her recycling education van. She was available at every one to talk to people about recycling and answer questions. And she always had a passel of children around the van because she always had such fun activities for them to do. After leaving GreenWorks, Christine became the environmental programs coordinator for Henderson County, and she's been with us for about 3 years now. She also serves as past president for Environmental Educators of North Carolina, a statewide nonprofit. Christine chairs the recycling team at Mountain True, and in her free time, she's passionate about gardening with native plants and likes to hike with her husband and her hound dog, Red. So Christine, take it away.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I'm really excited to finish this season of Green Drinks. And let me just share my screen. All right, can y'all see it? Great. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. And I'm really excited to talk about recycling, what you can and can't recycle, the benefits of it, where does our recycling go, what kind of products does it create, also what to do with some of the harder items to get rid of, like household hazardous waste and paint. Also want to talk about the difference between our transfer station and convenience center and what you can bring there. and finish it off with some upcoming events for 2021. We have some really great new programs starting next year. So first, just want to talk about the benefits of recycling. Why do we do this? Why do we go through the trouble of sorting our material? Well, first and foremost, it conserves our natural resources. So all the products that we use come from a natural resource. Of course, you know that this would usually, when I'd be at a live workshop, poll like, where does paper come from? Trees. Where does aluminum come from? It comes from bauxite, from the ground. Where does plastic come from? It comes from oil, petroleum. And so some of our natural resources are renewable and some are non-renewable. But you can also use a renewable resource in an unsustainable way. So this is one main reason to recycle, is to conserve these natural resources. Recycling also is good for the economy. It creates jobs, and our local DEQ Deeks office, they did a recycling study in 2020, and they found that recycling sector creates 15,000 jobs in North Carolina. And that was just a slight dip from the last study, I think was in 2014, which is amazing that with the market shifts, it didn't change that much. So 15,000 jobs rely on recycling. So we need people to recycle so we can put people to work. It also saves energy and money. When you recycle an aluminum can, you save 95% of the steps it takes to make it from that raw material. It takes a ton of energy to turn bauxite, that mineral ore, into aluminum. And aluminum cans, they are ready to go to be turned back into brand new aluminum. And finally, it helps save space in our landfills. And also, I like to ask, where does our trash go in Henderson County? A lot of people think that it is buried here, right here in the county, and actually it's not. It's the reason why we have a transfer station. We have to transfer all of our trash down to a landfill in South Carolina. And landfills are not a bad place. We need a safe place to throw away our trash, so that we don't want our environment, we need to protect our rivers, protect our forests. But so landfills are regulated, they're lined, and they're regulated. But what happens when our landfills get full? We have to build a new one, and nobody wants a landfill in their backyard. So we do need to preserve the landfills that we do have, so that we only have to throw away the things that we have to, that we can't do anything else with. So it does help, you know, save those natural resources from just sitting in a landfill. And some people think that when you throw away a banana peel, it will disintegrate in a landfill. It does not. It is there for a long time because the banana peel and the organics aren't exposed to the normal environmental factors like the air and the water and the rain. So there's no oxygen, and your material just sits there. So instead of it sitting there and just taking up space in the landfill, we can do something productive with it, like recycling. And I'm sure I will get a lot of questions, so I'm excited to answer all your recycling questions today and answer myths. But these are the items that you should recycle in your recycling bin or drop them off at the convenience center. We have our aluminum cans, our glass bottles and jars, milk jugs. Milk cartons are recyclable, and those, we call those gable tops. Of course, your regular plastic bottles, steel cans, and then all your tubs and yogurt containers. And so we used to go by the number game. We'd say recycle 1 through 7 containers. But now we know that the numbers get really confusing. And so we're starting to promote just recycle bottles, tubs, jugs, cans, and jars. And if you recycle those, then you're more than likely recycling correctly. So just ask yourself, you know, is it a bottle, tub, jug, can, or jar? And then if it is, then you more than likely can recycle it. And of course, we can recycle all different types of mixed paper. We have our newspaper, junk mail, cereal boxes, we call this paperboard, magazines, the cardboard egg cartons, not styrofoam or the plastic ones, but cardboard ones are okay. and then our office paper, of course. And of course, cardboard. We get a lot of cardboard, especially around the holidays. So please ask me all your holiday recycling questions as well tonight. And here are the top 10 items that our recycling center receives that are actually not recyclable. The number one problem in our recycling bins are plastic bags. So again, not everything that is plastic is recyclable. Remember, bottles, tubs, jugs, cans, and jars, and plastic bags cannot go in your recycling bin. In fact, they get tangled up in the machines at the recycling center. So you can take them back to a grocery store or retail that participates in that, but please keep plastic bag, Ziploc bags, and other plastic film out of your recycling bin. Also, paper towels cannot go in your recycling bin. The fibers are too short, and once they're turned into paper towels, they can be composted or thrown away. The third one is hoses and clothes. We call those tanglers. So please keep out anything that's not a bottle or tub or jug. So no hoses, no clothes, and also no black microwavable trays. This is kind of a interesting one. If it won't melt in the microwave, then it won't melt when we try and turn it into something else. So there's like an additive in those black microwavable trays that prevents it from melting. No plastic film, no styrofoam, no dishes, no mirror or window glass. And this is, again, just bottles and jars. At our convenience center, we have a place to recycle your glass bottles and jars. And people want to throw in like glass tabletops or windows or mirrors, but it's just bottles and jars. So no windows and mirrors, try and reuse those or donate them to Habitat. No motor oil bottles, and no like miscellaneous metal items that are not cans or like soup cans or aluminum cans. So no frying pans, no like old baking sheets. But we do have a place at the convenience center, I'll show you later, where you can bring scrap metal, but just keep them out of your recycling bin. So I'm very proud of Henderson County's recycling program and what we can accept at our convenience center that you can't put in your recycling bin. And where does your recycling go after it gets picked up or you drop it off at our convenience center? It goes to a material recovery facility. And the only difference between the drop off at our convenience center versus getting it picked up by a hauler, either from a county hauler or a municipality like the city of Hendersonville, is just glass bottles and jars. If you get it picked up by a cart or a bag from a hauler, you can keep your glass bottles and jars in. If you bring it to us at our convenience center, just take out those glass bottles and jars. So that's the only difference, but everything else, they are the same. All of the recycling in the county does come to our transfer station, where we then transfer it to the MRF. And just to kind of go over the whole recycling like market flow, again, we take resources, they come to the transfer station and a MRF, they get shipped to a plant where they get turned into new products, go back to grocery stores and other consumer items, and then they can go back to recycling or, unfortunately, go to a landfill. And also, we should add compost facility here for some of these items. But again, this is just the whole flow. It goes from our house to recycling bin, to the MRF, to the plant, back to the grocery store, and then one big circle. So that's just kind of overview. And again, the MRF stands for Material Recovery Facility. And we are very lucky to have two in the area. We have Curbside Management in Woodfin, and we have American Recycling in Inca. And we recently switched to Curbside Management. And so I'll talk about how your recyclables get sorted there. And again, we have single stream recycling. It's a fancy word for just all mixed together. And so we used to separate them into different containers by even the different colored glass and paper and aluminum and plastic. But now it's all single stream, all mixed together. And we have a very efficient, fast, automated way to sort this material. And so once it gets to the MRF, it is dumped onto the floor, and then a loader pushes it onto a conveyor belt, where then an auger right here evenly feeds the recyclables onto a conveyor belt. And the first part of the recycling MRF system is the pre-sort line. So we have very hardworking staff getting all of the bad things that we put in there. They're pulling out hoses, plastic bags. They're ripping open the blue recycling bags. They're just getting kind of all the things that should not continue down the line. So that's the first step, is people, the pre-sort line. And then this is brand new. I'm really excited that the MRF that we're now contracted with, they have upgraded their system. And we have 3 sets of these ballasts, and they act like an elliptical. And so each one of these little arms is like moving, kind of like an elliptical. And this is how the large cardboard boxes and glass bottles and jars are separated out. And so you see that there's holes that the smaller material can fall through, and there are holes of different sizes. So it goes from big, medium to large. But again, this is a brand new system, and this is like the first step, is like these elliptical kind of arms that bounce the material and keep it rolling. And next we have, after they go through the ballasts, they're then sorted into their different lines. There's a paper line, and then there's a container line. So the paper goes up and all the containers roll down. And this is really cool. I'm really excited about these new machines that we have at the MRF. We have optical sorters. And so as the material goes by the conveyor belt, there is an air blower that has different levels of air that move it to 3 different columns. So the puff of it gets scanned, and then the air puffs it, either a big puff, medium puff, or a small puff, and it can sort it into the different columns. And they are looking for the furthest one is waste, the middle column is PET, and then the other one is just all of the material. And again, there are optical sorters for both the container line and the paper line. So PET bottles are getting sorted out of the container line, and then paperboard, like your cereal boxes, are getting sorted out from the other optical sorter on the paper line. So very cool, automated, and fast. And next, on each line, they have robots. So we have these spider arms with suction cups, and there's actually a camera on each of these arms, these automated robots. And they are programmed to look for primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the primary thing that these robot arms are looking for are number 5s, like our yogurt containers and tubs. And then the second one is HDPE, and that's milk jugs natural. And then there's HDPE colored. And so as they're looking through the material, they're either picking up one. If they don't see the number 5s, they pick up the HDPE and so forth. So it's cool that we have these like cool robots now at our MRF. And of course, the classic magnet picks up our steel cans. You know, can't go wrong with a good old magnet. And then I love this one. This is an eddy current. So it acts as a reverse magnet. So as the material goes through, the aluminum is actually repelled. So instead of it being attracted, it flings it into a pile. And then there's the last chance line. They are looking for all the other material that might have been missed by the optical sorters or the robots, and they can have one last chance. And then all the material can fall back onto the floor. Well, then it'll go through the process again. So everything at the MRF does go through the process. Just depends if it goes through it once or twice. That kind of depends. And then after we get enough of the material, we put it into a baler, which is, I like to say to kids, it's like the movie WALL-E, but it smushes the material into a cube. When we get enough cubes, we can put it on a truck and we can ship it within a 5 to 6 hour radius. This is very important because recycling is regional. Your cousin in California may be able to recycle different items because they have different markets. Now we're calling them MRF sheds. So just like a watershed, which I'm sure all you Mountain True and Conserving Carolina advocates, I'm sure y'all know about watersheds. But we now have MRF sheds. So this is where all the material in this region goes to. And these are the different markets. And in the Southeast, we do have a very robust market for this raw material. In fact, there are some places that need more product, that don't have the feedstock that they're looking for. So they need more of these materials. And a lot of people are concerned about the green sword. And yes, that has affected markets. So how much the MRF can get for their products, but we are able to recycle our materials domestically. That is not the case for other parts of the country. And in fact, like most of our material is recycled domestically. There's a very small percentage that goes overseas. So I am really glad that we do have domestic markets for this material to go to. That's very important, especially when the green sword happened a couple years ago. And now the fun part, what does that material get turned into? And I love also, I'm gonna try and do this virtually, but I love to always ask, what is this made out of? And everybody's like, oh, it's soft, it feels like cotton. But actually this is made out of a water bottle. And so our water bottles can be turned into fleece, more water bottles, and carpet. And in fact, the process is first it's flake. So it's kind of like this plastic, just like flake material. And then after that gets washed and cleaned, it can be turned into these resin beads, where then it can be turned into, again, cotton into t-shirts. Also strapping for like holding things together, and air filters. So those are just some examples of what water bottles can be turned into. And again, you could be wearing or walking on water bottles every day. Milk jugs, HDPE or milk jugs can be turned into a lot of different things, but you can see them in your playground equipment, more bins, plastic toys. Newspaper can be turned right back into more paper, mixed turned into paper towels and toilet paper. Glass bottles and jars can be turned into more glass bottles and jars, insulation, and even there's like that reflective paint on roadsides. Aluminum cans can be turned right back into aluminum cans. And in fact, your aluminum can is back on the shelf in only 60 days after you recycle it. So that's amazing. That's what I call recycling. So it's great. I love aluminum. We should make sure we don't throw it away. We need to recycle it because it's very easily recyclable. Steel cans can be turned in all kinds of steel material. Again, once it's these items, they need to go to the convenience center scrap metal, but all soup cans can be recycled. And now I'll just briefly talk about some harder items to recycle. We collect paint 3 times in the spring and 3 times in the fall at our transfer station. We do charge $2 for a 1 gallon and $10 for a 5 gallon. There's a 30 gallon limit. And if you have latex base paint, you could turn it into a solid and then it's safe to throw away. We only want liquid paint here. So no solidified paint. If you've been sitting in your shed, you can shake it to see if it's hardened. But we just want liquid paint and all paint related material like paint thinners, wall strippers, all those harsh chemicals. Also on the same dates and times, we collect household hazardous waste. So the aerosol cans, pesticides, insecticides, cleaning agents, so all kind of household chemicals can come to our household hazardous waste events. Even used gasoline, old gasoline, it just needs to come in a gas can and you won't get that gas can back. And now I'll talk about the difference between our convenience center and transfer station. I'd say the main difference between the convenience center is there is no cash exchanged. And then at the transfer station, there are fees for items. So one's fees, one's no fees. And first, let's talk about the convenience center pretty briefly. I know we want to get to some questions, but here we can accept single stream recycling. We do ask that you keep your glass out of that single stream, but we do have another container for that. White goods, scrap metal. So there's a lot of metal items that can be recycled, but just not in your recycling bin. Just bring it to the scrap metal pile. If it's about 50% or more of metal, it should go in the scrap metal pile. Electronic waste, peripherals, except for TVs and computer monitors, like holiday lights are coming up. Use cooking oil, use automated oil, antifreeze, sharps, mercury products, leaves, and food waste. And I'll talk about a little bit about that. We'll have some really exciting stuff coming up. And of course, y'all know we have the bag for bag program. If you do bring a bag of recycling, you can bring a bag. And I do want to clarify what's eligible. It's just trash from your kitchen and bathroom. So no doors or like mattresses, none of those like bulkier items, just stuff from your kitchen and bath. That's kind of how I like to put it. And of course, electronics, microwaves, printers, laptops, cell phones, batteries also. The only electronic that we don't want at the convenience center are TVs and computer monitors, and that's because there's a fee. We take mercury products like the swirly CL light bulbs and fluorescent tubes. Just please find an attendant because we do need to put them in a secure shed. And then this is kind of what it looks like when you drive in. This is our like automotive products. This is where the cooking oil and motor oil and antifreeze, or this is cooking oil, motor oil, antifreeze. And then here we have our electronics area. And then by the bag for bag dumpster, we have our free food waste drop off. I'm really proud that we started the first food waste drop off recycling program in Western North Carolina. We went from these 2 bins now up to 8 64-gallon carts. And we collect over 2 tons of material a month from this program, and you can drop off your food waste for free. So this isn't brush or leaves, but it's just like your food waste as well as the compostable plastics. So people love using compostable plastics, but they won't compost in your backyard and they're not recyclable. They have to go to a large scale compost facility. And so there is a difference in compost, and there's different types of composting. Your backyard is different than a large scale facility because of the heat. So a large scale facility that we take it to, like Alice Organics currently, they have these large aerated static piles. So these are actually like PVC pipes that go through the pile, and there's a blower attached to it, and it forces air through the pile, and it makes the process speed up a lot quicker than it would in your backyard. Because it's so large, so much heat, it gets up to 131 degrees for at least 3 days. And that's why we can take the meat, bones, dairy, cheese, compostable plastics, more than just what would go in your backyard, like fruits and vegetables and leaves. And I'm really excited to show you just some photos from our compost facility pilot. So it's been a long process, but we received a grant from DEQ last year to start to purchase our aeration kits. And then we also received a grant from the USDA to help with this work. So we have this reclaimed lumber from a horse barn that was on the property. And there we are just recently poured our aerated static piles. And so this is where our this is a trenched floor. Our aerated like PVC pipes will go in here. And then that's where we will put the pile of organics on top, force air through it. And so we can create compost very quickly. And Here we're gonna have a grinder, like a mixer, that's gonna mix all the material together before it goes on top of the pile. So this is also where our mixer will live. I know it's, we're not there yet, but I did want to show you some preliminary photos. I'm really excited about it. And again, at the convenience center, we have where you can put your single stream recycling, your white goods, scrap metal, you know, all kinds of like metal items that can't go in your recycling bin. And then next is the transfer station. Again, this is where you can take TVs and computer monitors for a $15 fee. You can bring your tires to be recycled as well. As a Henderson County resident, you get 5 free tires a year. So make sure that they're off the rim and free of mud, but please take advantage of that. 5 free tires a year you get as a resident, you can recycle those. At the transfer station, we also take mattresses, pallets, construction debris, and yard waste. So, you know, please take advantage of these and know the difference between the convenience center and the transfer station. And I did want to talk about recycling plastic film. So again, plastic bags get tangled up in those machines that we saw earlier, but please take it back to the retail. And I'll give you an example. If you can stretch it with your finger, then it's more, it can go in the plastic film at the grocery store. Things that aren't stretchy are like salad bags, candy wrappers, kind of like that if it doesn't really stretch when you pull on it, I'd keep it out of the bin at the grocery store. So please recycle your film, just not in your recycling bin. And then, oh, that's a good tip card. So not only can you bring plastic bags, you can bring produce bags, even the plastic shipping envelopes, bubble wrap, air pillows. I know we're about to get some stuff in the mail this holiday season. So air pillows can go there, Ziploc bags, case wrap, dry cleaning bags. So it's more than just plastic bags that can go back to the grocery store. And if you Google plasticfilmrecycling.org, they are they help educate what kind of film can be recycled. And then flower pots, please keep those out of your recycling, but they can go to a Lowe's garden center. And just want to show you just a photo of our website. So please go to hcrecycles.org. We have a lot of information about plastic film recycling, what kind of, if you're in a different municipality, what kind of recycling do you have? So just check out hcrecycles.org. We also have Recyclopedia, where you can actually type in an item and it'll tell you where it should go. And this is specific for Henderson County. And then I just want to talk about some upcoming events. We have the Mountain Shrews holiday recycling event. It's happening Saturday, January 9th from 9 a.m. until 2. At the event, we'll have volunteers that collect Christmas trees, wreaths, holiday cards, and Christmas lights. And it's a great partnership between King's Hardware, the city of Hendersonville, and the county. So thank you again to King's Hardware for mulching up the yard waste right there, and you can pick up free mulch. I'm really excited to host a spring and a fall hard to recycle. So you're probably going to get a lot of packing grade styrofoam this holiday season. Hang on to it because we will have a place for you to drop it off. In the spring, it's looking like March 13th, and then the fall around September. We're still finalizing locations, so we will release more information on our website as soon as we finalize where it will be. And then I'm really excited that in March, we're gonna start selling compost bins. So we're gonna subsidize them. They're normally $150, and we'll be selling them for $25. And we're gonna have a pre-sale starting in March, and then you can safely pick up your compost bin in May. We're also gonna be doing virtual backyard compost workshops because as y'all can probably tell, I only scratched the surface, pun intended, about composting. So I would love to do, we're gonna be hosting more virtual workshops just about composting because there is so much to learn, and there's different types and ways you can do it that work for you. So it deserves a whole workshop. But I just want to throw a flyer out for the event in January. Again, don't let those Christmas trees or wreaths go to waste. dropped them off on January 9th and at Jackson Park in field number 6. And again, just some main points. Don't be a wishful recycler. When in doubt, throw out. Please check our county's recycling guidelines. Remember containers, bottles, tubs, jugs, cans, jars. Take plastic film back to the retailer. And then remember that different things can go to the convenience center versus transfer station. But now we're getting to the fun part, the questions. So let me know what you got and feel free to, be as specific as you want. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
So it looks like we got quite a few questions for you.
Great, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. All right.
All right, so the first question says, it's from Sharon. It says, my trash hauler won't pick up gable top containers. Why not?
That's a good question because they all the recycling comes to us. And so they should accept that. And feel free to call me and let me know what kind of hauler you have. And then I can go through the specific leadership to talk to them, because every hauler does get permitted to pick up recycling in the county. And maybe they just were unaware. Definitely not going to play the blame game, but it definitely would be worth just us reaching out to them. So yeah, please email me or call me and we'll get that sorted out. So they should be able to take gable tops. And again, that's like the milk cartons and like broth containers. So.
Next question is from Sheila. It says, aluminum foil, ? Disposable aluminum pans, ? And then right underneath it, it says disposable PPE masks, ?
Great question. I would keep aluminum foil out, and I would also keep masks out. Again, we are going back to the basics. That is like a result of the green sort I was talking about, how our recycling markets got more strict, and that was along with contamination. So we are trying to go back to the basics and just bottles, tubs, jugs, cans, and jars. So keep aluminum foil out and keep all PPE out. So that's gloves and masks. And we have been seeing those in our recycling at the convenience center and our hauler recycling. So please keep out masks. Good question.
Okay, next one is from Steven. It says, the convenience center really stresses to have the household trash inside bags every time because of blowaway risk, right?
Yeah, we do want your household trash from your kitchen and bathroom to be in a bag. I'm pretty sure, I think that's what there was going. Because we do have to, once the dumpster gets full, we take it to the transfer station and we then dump it onto the transfer station floor. So if it is loose, like peanuts or other kind of loose items, they can like blow away. So I would bag it as much at the bag for bag program.
Okay, so Linda says, I run a business in Henderson County. Our trash service is Waste Pro /GFL. And they say the transfer station says commercial recycling is not accepted. Why not? And what can we do about it?
I'm really glad you asked. So the transfer station and convenience center recycling was set up for residents only. And if you are a business in Henderson County, you can be contract directly with the MERF. So I would recommend that businesses please call curbside management, tell them you're a Henderson County business and that you like to start bringing your recycling to them. Because again, we were just set up for residential recycling. I hope that answers the question. And if you need their contact information, feel free to reach out to me. So I'd love to help connect you.
So we have another question from Marcy that says, what to do with old plastic CD cases?
Ooh, those would be trash. Unfortunately, again, we can't recycle that thin plastic CD cases, so I'll throw those away. And it is painful throwing things away, but it's better to throw out the things that aren't recycling than contaminate the recycling, because they'll just have to be taken to the MRF, sorted out, and thrown away. So it's that also puts a lot of pressure on our MRFs that do rely on selling these materials, and they have to pay to dispose of the trash that they get from us. So again, help support your MRF, these local businesses, by recycling correctly and making recycling more efficient.
So the next question is from Grady and Kathleen, and it says, just want to make sure that I understand. Regular plastic goes in our recycle blue bags, but compostable plastic needs to be brought into the convenience center separately. Is there an easy way to tell the difference?
Yes, they should say compostable on the compostable plastics, and you are correct. Compostable plastics need to go to the convenience center, and then the regular plastic bottles can go in your recycling. I would not put regular solo cups in your recycling. I consider those to be to-go containers. And in fact, that makes me think of another item that also can be really confusing, is those plastic clamshells and berry containers. I would keep those out as well. So again, just bottles, tubs, jugs, cans, and jars. And then the compostable plastics do need to come to the convenience center, and they should say eco products, compostable. And then the BPI, the Biodegradable Plastics Institute, they have a way to search different items that are compostable. So I can share that in the chat box too. But BPI, they certify things are compostable. Yeah, but I'll share that in link.
Cool. There it is. Okay. So the next question is from Steve. And the question says, will the finished compost in the new facility be available to residents and farmers?
Yeah, I would love to get to that point. But before we give it out to the public or farmers, I would want to make sure that the compost is safe. And eventually we could get the compost STA certified by the U.S. Compost Council. And we will need to send the finished compost to a lab to be tested to make sure that it is safe to be spread onto homeowners' lawns and used on the ground. So I would say eventually, but we want to make sure that it's a good product and safe to grow your fruits and vegetables in before we give it out. And that also brings me to a good point too. You know, we're not at a point at this future compost facility to, you know, take commercial waste. Eventually, maybe we could get there. But again, right now we're just piloting this. I love the word pilot. We're testing this to see, can we pull this off? I'm really hopeful that we can, but right now we're just in the test phase. But I'm really excited that we're one of the first municipalities in North Carolina to try it ourselves. A lot of other municipalities are working towards this, but they have a public-private partnership, meaning they're contracting with a private compost facility to run the facility on their property, whereas we would be doing it all in-house. So that's kind of the difference. And so we're going to take baby steps, make sure that we can do it and do it right before we start accepting large volumes of waste or you know, sitting out compost.
So
Great question.
Can I interrupt just a minute? Because this is real interesting to me. And I know from talking to Christine that we are taking baby steps with the composting project. It's a pilot project, and it's for residential customers right now. So I'm assuming that we will continue to take our compost to the convenience center, put them in the rollout containers like you showed on the slide, and then the county staff will take it over to the processing facility. Is that correct?
Correct. And the convenience center is what we'll be testing first. So yes, thanks for clarifying that.
Okay, yeah, and I have a sister who freezes her stuff. She you know, she takes it to the convenience center once a week. But if you've got fish skins and bones and things that can't sit out on your convenience center, which I thought was a pretty nice way to do it. So that's
Katie,
just
I'm glad you said that, because freezing my food scraps has saved my relationship. So that was it's a good trick if you don't want fruit flies or don't have like a freezing your compost is a good thing to do. And even freezing it in a paper bag. So all you have to do is dump that in there. That's a possibility.
idea.
And again, please keep out plastic, regular plastic bags and metal. We do see some people get confused. They just drop a grocery bag filled with food into the compost bin. Please try and help the compost bin stay free of contamination by keeping out your plastic and metal. But if it's compostable plastics bags, they're usually like green and say compostable on them. So you might see a plastic bag in there, but it could be compostable. But again, try and make sure the difference. And you're more than welcome to call me anytime if you want to see if it is compostable or not.
So, Christine, I'm assuming you're going to put up your contact information at the end. We have about 10 minutes left, and I see we have a lot of questions. Cassidy, you want to keep going here?
Yeah. So the next question is from Grady and Kathleen, and it says, our recycling gets picked up by our garbage hauler and we put it in blue bags. Is there something special about those bags, or is the color just to delineate? If we use them, are they recyclable, or is there a better eco way to do it?
Yeah, the blue bags are to, show that it is recycling. So that's all they're there for. And I would love to eventually get away from the blue bags, but we definitely need to work with our local haulers, support our local haulers, make sure that we can work together on that. But currently, if you aren't provided a cart, please use a blue bag. And that does help show us that it is recycling. And in fact, if we see a hauler drop off trash with those blue bags in there, we do notify our scale house, and we do notify the hauler. So, we definitely watch our trash to see those blue bags that they're in there.
The next question is from Steve, and it says, can we recycle empty spray paint cans?
I would keep those out. And the reason why is because we've had a MRF that had a fire at the MRF. I don't know the extent, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty bad because of an aerosol can. So if they're completely empty, then you can throw them away. Or if they still have stuff in them, then you can bring it to our household hazardous waste event.
So yeah, that was my Steve, and I took that out of the recycle bin just a few minutes ago. That's why he asked. But I'm going to save it for Hard to Recycle Day, right? I can bring it at Hard to Recycle Day or Household Hazardous Waste Day.
Yeah, I think we do want the cans with the material in them for HHW. Yeah. So I think they just go in the trash.
Okay, so there's not an option right now, unless it's got material in it. It should go in the trash.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. Okay, what's next, Cassidy?
So Anonymous asks, are deli containers and produce tubs / baskets recyclable? How can you tell which are?
I heard deli containers, I think with, I would say since they are like a tub, yes. But then the produce containers, no. Like the strawberries, raspberries, I would keep those out. Those clamshells, keep those out too.
So I'm just holding up, our food cooperative sells a lot of food, is a deli container. It comes with a hinge, which comes off. But this, Christine says, is not recyclable, correct?
Correct. And I would put that in the to-go container. So if it's to-go container, keep it out.
Sorry about that, but you know, things can change down the road. I'm hoping someday we will be able to recycle that. And if we can't, then we need to not be using it or not selling it. Yeah, I hope down the road things will change. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, good. So Stephen asks, 6-pack rings are not recyclable anywhere?
No, they are not, unless they're, I think some could be cardboard I've seen, but 6-pack rings are not. So that would be trash as well. And I did have I forgot to mention this too about lids for like drink bottles. You can keep those on, and this kind of demonstrates why. Your recyclables, your bottles get shredded up, and then they get put in a bath, and then all of the lids float to the top and all of the bottle parts float to the bottom. And so if you keep the lid on, this tiny plastic piece will get recycled because it'll float to the top in the process. But if it's just rolling around in the single stream MRF, it won't be recycled. So keep lids on to your plastic bottles.
So the next question is from Donna Jean, and it says, can you recycle aluminum foil or shredded paper?
I would keep aluminum foil out, and shredded paper is after we switch to the new MRF. I would also keep shredded paper out of your recycling. I used to tell residents to just put it in a bag and then recycle it that way, but it still was getting everywhere. And so the option for shredded paper is to compost it in your backyard. So another good incentive to start composting. Or second, bring it to our Hard to Recycle event. We will be collecting shredded paper at our Hard to Recycle, as well as styrofoam, hardback books, TerraCycle items like toothpaste tubes, and shampoo bottles that are squishy. The hard ones you can recycle, but any kind of like squishy tube, you can take to Hard to Recycle, as well as metals of all kinds, electronics, laptops. So please check our website after we get that posted.
But you do take electronics at the convenience center, except for
Yes.
TV monitors and computer screen. Is that right?
Yeah, computer monitors. Yeah.
So the next question is from James, and it says, I have wooden pallets and missed your comment on where they might be recycled.
Yeah, pallets are one of those things that are banned from the landfill. So take them to our transfer station, and then we have a separate area for them, and we will like grind those up and turn it into wood waste. So yeah, we do take pallets at the transfer station, and I'm really glad you asked, because if we see a pallet in your trash, we will, call you out and say you got to get it out. So those go to the transfer station, but to a different area. Actually, you'll drive by the new compost pilot on your way to the wood waste. So you get to check it out after you drop your pallets there.
Is there a fee per weight of the pallet? So there's
yes.
a tipping fee.
Yeah.
By weight. Okay.
And if it's 340 pounds or less, it's just $10. So yeah, 340 pounds or less,
So
$10.
yeah, bring everything you have to throw away all at one time.
So the next question is from Glenn, and it says, is there a way I can share this video after it's over? My grandpa thinks he can recycle anything. Actually, there is a way. This is my question. On Mountain True's YouTube page, you can find this video. It'll be on, if not tomorrow, latest Monday. And I will also be sharing it on Mountain True's Facebook page. So, okay. The question for you is, where should carbon monoxide and smoke detectors be taken for disposal?
I'm glad that you asked, because smoke detectors have a very small amount of radioactive material. We are not permitted to take them at the transfer station or convenience center, but there is a like kit that you can purchase that you can ship them off in that kit. So they'll mail you a box, and then you'll just mail it back in that box. And I will find the company and put it in the chat as well. But ask another question, and I'll find that while we got the other question going.
Okay. Well, you have two comments. One says, our recycle center rocks. Thank you, smiley face. And then we have a thanks. But the next question is from Glenn, and it says, with Christmas coming up, how about wrapping paper?
I am so glad you asked that. And first, I will put the MERCURY services is where you can take your smoke detectors, and I put that in the chat there. And that's for your kit that you can purchase. But I'm so glad you asked. Regular wrapping paper is okay to recycle, just not the foil or glitter kind. So if it's kind of more paper, it tears easily, then take that. That can be recycled, but not the foil or glitter. And please keep out bows, ribbons, even like holiday decorations. We don't want your snowman decoration in the recycling bin. Keep those out. But yes, boxes, gift bags, and regular wrapping paper is recyclable.
Perfect. And so Anonymous asked, where do I recycle old clothing?
Yeah, the donation stores will take that if it's still usable. And then also other Goodwill, they will take scrap fabric. So if you just put it in a bag and write scrap, then they'll take it. As well as the thrift store downtown. I believe they'll take scrap fabric, but I would give them a call ahead of time just to make sure that during COVID times that they're still accepting it. So, but Goodwill and other thrift stores will take scrap fabric.
Perfect. So the next question is
So
from,
Lori,
sorry?
I'm gonna interrupt. We have time for one more, and then we're gonna have to sign off, and Christine's gonna have to give out her information so people can contact her directly with questions. How about one more?
Okay. Whoops. So I think we already answered one of these questions. So I'm hesitant. This is from Sheila. It says, I'm hesitant to recycle cell phones or computers thinking that sensitive personal info might be retrieved. Where do they go?
A great question. If you are worried about that, then you can bring it to our next Hard to Recycle event in March, or they also offer them in Buncombe County like other times of the year. But there is a company, a partner that will wipe your information on the spot. So if you are worried about your information, then I would recommend waiting for one of our events, and a partner will erase all your sensitive information. Good question.
All right. Well, this is great. So on your screen is Christine's contact information. She's so friendly. She's such a great resource. If you have a question, she will get back to you. Keep her busy. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you everybody for supporting Green Drinks. And we hope you have a great holiday. And yeah, we'll see you next year. So again, thank you, Christine. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
I look forward to being here and talk to everybody.
Bye-bye.